Hello, today we are going to do a representation of how a stormwater management micro-bioretention system works. And this will be typical to the details provided by Morris Ritchie Associates for our Olive Garden project at the James Run community in Bel Air. Today we'll be using this 9-gallon clear tote to represent the bioretention facility itself. We'll follow the detail, which I'll put in later, with a perforated underdrain system, multiple layers of stone, and then a certified biosoil mix that will be the primary filter medium. We'll take this through in the various layers. Each layer we'll put in and then run water through it so that we can kind of show how this system works and how the water comes out. We'll be using our nice clean white bucket as our collection bucket so that we can monitor and see how things are going there. So the first thing we'll do is we'll start with our perforated drain pipe, and this simulates the drain. The detail calls for a 4-inch pipe. We're using a 3-inch or 2-inch pipe with the 3/8 holes. Not wrapping this in the wire mesh for this demonstration, only because the wire mesh is just for the long term to keep stone and gravel from choking up the drain holes. So we're just going to use this as our primary drain pipe, into the bottom, per the detail, and then we'll be placing, some number 57 stone in as the first layer. Okay, so we have our first layer of our number 57 stone that go into the bottom of the micro-bioretention facility. This is unwashed stone, but we are going to go ahead and we're going to run water through this first layer, again, into our clean white bucket so that we can see what comes out of this first system. And we'll run this, just so the purposes of comparison, we'll run this until this runs clean so we make sure we've washed whatever stone dust out of here. So we'll have a good comparison. Notice, zoom in on that, even with just the number 57 stone, unwashed, with the first bat of water coming through that, we're getting grayish water coming out of the number 57 stone. Okay, so after rinsing the 57 stones for quite a while, you can see, you can zoom in, we're still getting grayish water coming out of just the 57 stones at this point. So we're going to move on to our next layer. All right, so now we've rinsed our 57 stones. Now we're putting in our bridging layer of 1/8 to 3/8 inch gravel, represented here with the pea gravel that's just typical to all of the bioretention facilities we've installed. Again, we've cleaned our bucket so we have a good accurate picture of what we're looking at here. So we're going to do the same process. Now we're going to, again, this was unwashed pea gravel. So we're going to start washing and rinsing this and see what that looks like coming out of the bioretention facility. This will probably take a little bit longer. The stone is finer. I'm sure you can see this now. What's coming out from our unwashed pea gravel is a brownish water. And we'll give this a good rinse to try and get this as clean as possible before we add the biosoil. So we've been rinsing our pea gravel for quite a while. I've emptied our bucket, but to show you, even after rinsing the pea gravel for quite a while, the water's still not 100% clear. It takes a while to get all the stone washed. This is still coming through this whole filter system with a little bit of a tint. But again, it's much better than when we started. So we're going to move on to the next phase. And if you've noticed or not noticed, there is no filter cloth, no filter media between the layers of the 57s, the pea gravel, and there is no filter material in between then the biossoil and the pea gravel. Okay, so we're about to go to the last step, and what I have here is a bucket of our biossoil mix, which is the MDE Specs B.4.1, and this was provided to us from Stancils Inc., which provided all the material for both all Lone Star and for the Olive Garden bioretention facilities. So we're going to put this in. Again, there's no filter cloth in between the biossoil and the pea gravel per the approved design. So here we have our roughly 6 inches in our test system here, but what would be anywhere from 24 to 48 inches of biossoil in a standard micro-bioretention facility. Okay, so just move this out so it doesn't overflow. Again, this material does not get compacted. Per the specs, it is not to be compacted, not to have equipment running over top of it. And again, we're starting off with our clean bucket so that we have a good show of what we're dealing with here. Now, this material is designed to absorb and hold water, so it's probably going to take a little bit of time to saturate this enough for the water to work its way all the way through and down through the outfall. So we're simulating here is a heavy storm event with bioretentions will be saturated, filled. What we're not going to show in this example is the mulch, an additional layer of pea gravel, and the plantings that go on top of this for the landscape. This is just the more functional part of the bioretention. Now you can see how dark that water is coming out into our bucket compared to what it was coming out of just the 57 stone for the pea gravel. And this is just from 1 9-gallon micro-bioretention. As we discussed, we had 8 micro-bioretentions at Olive Garden and 4 at Lone Star come online at relatively the same time. And as you can see, this water is dark brown, almost black. We'll run this a little bit more. So we discussed with Tom Worth from Geotechnical Associates, who does the testing and certification for Stancils, that this micro-bioretention biossoil mix has a very high percentage of fine particulate that takes time to get flushed out of the system. However, it's that fine particulate that also helps it absorb and hold the water. So we have our micro-bioretention facility on lot. Heavy rain event, perking through the biossoil, through the pea gravel, through the number 57 stone, out the drain pipe, then makes its way down to, in this instance, what is sediment basin number 8, where it looks like dark brown, blackish water that you see in sediment basin number 8, which then gets held and then out falls through the dewatering device at the stormwater structure. All right, so there we have it. This is the basic function of your standard micro-bioretention facility, at least the way it's been designed and approved for James Run, and specifically for our Longhorn Steakhouse and Olive Garden restaurants. So again, as you can see, just in the initial upfront construction and operation of this micro-bioretention, we have water that is coming out dark brown to black and has a very distinct organic aroma to it because it's full of the organic biosoil particulate. So I hope that answers a lot of questions or give you a good demonstration for how the system works. Thank you.